Exponent Properties number 4. So, on number 7, we distribute the 2. So that would be 4 squared, a to the 4. We always multiply when we distribute the exponent, and then b to the 3rd. 4 squared would be 16, so I would be left with 16, a to the 4, b to the 3rd. Distribute the 2, so that would be 4 squared, x squared, b to the 3rd. 4 squared is 16, x squared, b to the 3rd. Distribute the 5. 2 times 5 is 10, so x 10, y to the 20. Distribute the 2, so that would be b to the 6. This stays as 2a to the 3rd b squared. I can combine these, so that would be 2a to the 3rd b to the 8. When they are side by side, we add them. Go ahead and distribute the 3, so this is really negative 4 to the 3rd, x to the 3rd, y to the 3rd. Then it becomes negative 2 to the 3rd, x to the 6, because we multiply those. Negative 4 to the 3rd would be 64. Negative 2 to the 3rd would be 8. I know that 64 times 8, if I use my calculator, so negative 64, negative 8. So negative 64 times negative 8 would give me 512. So I know that my front number needs to be 512. x3, x6 becomes x9. And then y is by itself. So that's what we would end up with. Negative 3 squared, j to the 4, k to the 6. So I distribute. This would be 2 to the 3rd, j to the 6, k to the 3. Negative 3 squared would be 9. 2 to the 3rd would be 8. 9 times 8 would give me 72, so I know my front number has to be 72. J4, J6 becomes J10. K6, K3 would be K9. And we would be done. Number 1 we did in class, so I'm not going to do that. Number 2, I have m on top. If I have a negative 4 in the denominator, it comes up top, so it becomes m to the 4 on top. This is m1, m4. Side by side we add, so that would be m5. P to the negative 8, so that's got to drop down. There's nothing left on top, so that would be p to the 8, p to the 3rd. If I combine those, I'd get 1 over p to the 11. Number 4. b to the negative 4 goes on bottom, so it becomes positive 4. b to the negative 5 goes on top, so it would be a positive 5. 5 minus 4 would give me 1. Anything to the 0 power goes away. So that would be 1 on top. The 4 stays. W to the negative 1, so that has to go on top. And the y to the 2 stays. So you could have the 1 or you don't have to have the 1, doesn't matter. Number 6 we did in class. Number 7. Let me zoom in a little bit. On number 7, I know that this x has to go on top. So this would be x to the 4, y to the 0. That cancels out. And this would be x squared on top as well. This would turn into x to the 6. Number 8, I need to go ahead and distribute. So this would be 6 squared, a to the negative 2, b to the positive 2, all over b to the 8. 6 squared becomes 36. A to the negative 2 goes on bottom, becomes positive. 8 minus 2 gives me 6. Stays on bottom because the 8 is larger. Number 9 I did in class. Number 10. So I know that m to the negative 3 has to go on bottom. So does the t to the negative 5 go on bottom. If I distribute the negative 1, this would become m to the negative 2, t to the negative 3. I know that these have to go on top. Now, 3 minus 2 is 1, so I know that that stays on bottom because the larger value is on bottom. 5 minus 3 is 2, stays on bottom. Anything to the 0 power is 1, so this answer just remains 1. So if I distribute the negative 3, that gives me negative 2 to the negative 3rd, m to the negative 3rd, n to the negative 6, all over. What I'm going to actually start doing is I'm actually going to start changing things around. So let's see what happens. So I know that negative 2 to the negative 3rd will have to go on bottom. So I'm going to rewrite everything. So this would be negative 2 to the positive 3 on bottom, m to the positive 3, n to the positive 6. So all of this goes to the bottom. The 4 stays on bottom. The m to the negative 6 goes on top. And the n to the 4 stays on bottom. Negative 2 to the 3rd would be negative 8. So this turns into negative 8. Negative 8 times 4 gives me negative 32. 6 minus 3 gives me 3 on top. 6 plus 4 gives me 10, so n to the 10 on bottom. So negative 8, or that's my final answer. So we need to simplify this. So this would be 3, so I distribute. So this would be 3a to the 3rd minus 3a times 3a would be minus 9a squared. 3a times 4 would be positive 12a. Distribute the negative 4, so this would be minus 12a to the 3rd plus 8a squared. Now I can combine like terms. 3a minus 12a becomes negative 9a to the 3rd. Negative 9a squared plus 8a squared becomes minus 1a squared. And then I have 12a left. So negative 9a to the 3rd minus a squared, so it has to be h. Let me make sure I put it, yep. I told you that we cannot distribute this. This actually literally becomes 2a minus 3b, parenthesis 2a minus 3b. If I go ahead and distribute, this would be 4a squared minus 6ab minus 6ab plus 9b squared. I can combine my like terms. This turns into negative 12ab. Bring down my 4a squared, bring down my 9b squared. So it would be D. And I'm done.